My fellow Americans, welcome. Not long ago, behind the walls of the company that was here in this location, people were physically and mentally abused. People were harassed and tortured. All those people were handicapped and disabled, victims of car accidents and work-related injuries. People with broken backs, people with no limbs, no fingers, people with broken legs. You're probably thinking, this place must be somewhere in North Korea or perhaps Russia or maybe China. This place actually is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and many just like it all over the country. You might be asking, how do I know about this place and who told me that story? Nobody told me that story. I was there. I was physically and mentally abused and tortured for many weeks and months. Nobody told me that story. It's my story, but let me explain.
This is how this place looked like, on the inside. At 7 o'clock in the morning, cars dropped off all those sick and disabled people at the front door. The security check for listening devices, recording devices, tape recorders, or cameras. They didn't want anybody to know what was going on inside. There are hospital beds between heavy machinery. People were not allowed to talk to each other. They were forced to whisper. They talk about pain and suffering. For 8 hours a day they cry, from the pain. You probably see the observation area. They want to make sure that people did not communicate with each other. You have to pretend that you drop something on the floor, and talk to the other person when you were under the table. People were severely punished if they tried to talk to each other, and harassed by the member of staff. People were treated like garbage, called names, and physically abused. Typically, people with broken backs work on those machines. They work maybe for 5 to 10 minutes of every hour. Rest of the time they spent in bed, because they were in so much pain, that they have to lay down. Also there were 2 tables. At those tables people were harassed and tortured by the management. People were screaming right in your face, calling you names, and telling you how worthless and insignificant you are. They try to encourage you to quit. Since that was part of your rehab to assess your ability to work, you gonna lose all your benefits, if you quit. Because, they said you refused treatment. Your work comp insurance is going to cut you off, and you're not going to have medical care or income. Despite the fact that this was a sitting job. They told people with broken legs to stand up and work in upright position. Work with excruciating pain and tears in their eyes, for many hours. If you try to sit down, they screamed that they going to call workers' compensation insurance to cut you off, and you will lose your benefits. However, there was also another reason, that you were there. After 2 or 3 months on this program your work comp insurance will receive a letter from the company, that you've been working there. That was part of the plan. At that point the insurance will cut you off. You will receive a dispute letter from your insurance company. They're going to tell you that you've been cut off. You claim that you have a broken back but you've been working for the last couple of months. Of course they are not going to mention that they are the one that sent you there in the first place, and that you've been in bed most of the time. After a few months when all your savings are gone, work comp insurance will offer you a settlement. Typically, pennies on a dollar. Your attorney will encourage you to take it, because this is the only way he's going to get paid, for his service. Couple months later, when that money is gone, you are still disabled. You have no income. Nobody is going to hire you. By then, you going to lose your place, your car, and your credit. You going to have tons of medical bills. You are going to file bankruptcy and application for Social Security disability, that is going to take you years to get it. At that point you gonna join millions of homeless people on the street. This is one of the big reasons why we have so many of them. This is the ultimate goal of your work comp insurance company. To cut you off and provide no benefits.
Folks, this is going on every single day in our country for decades. Some people call that place a concentration camp and labor camp. That was very well documented in the company's reports. You might say that this is exaggeration. Well, let me tell you something. In 1940, my mother was taken to a labor camp. She survived. When she was back after 5 years of hard work, a little food, a little sleep, she weighed less than 90 pounds. Her brother was also taken to a labor camp. From the emotional stress after the war, he drank himself to death. My other uncle went to a POW camp. He survived. So you can only imagine how many horror stories I heard during my childhood about labor camps, POW camps. Also, we were visited by many people that survived concentration camps. They also had many stories to tell. However, all those stories were nothing comparing to that place. However, at that time, I didn't know that those stories are going to become a reality in my life. Not in Nazi Germany, but in the United States of America. But can you really compare that place to a labor camp or Nazis? Well, let me show you something. The door was a little bit different. The layout was the same. People were searched the same way. They all were in one big cage. They were not allowed to talk. They were harassed. They were threatened. They were watched from the observation area. They were abused. They had to ask permission to go to the bathroom. And you were not allowed to go to the bathroom by yourself. People were treated like animals or a piece of garbage. People were thinking and talking about committing suicide. Folks, this happened in a free, civilized, and democratic country. This is what you call the American dream. Perhaps you need to open your eyes and wake up, and that American dream is quickly going to turn into a nightmare, especially if you're hurt on a job or in a car accident. You might say that this happened a while back. That's true. Things are different now. They are. They got worse. Now, on the top of everything else, we have independent medical evaluations. Basically, crooked doctors will evaluate your condition and make a report that there is nothing wrong with you, despite the fact that you might be paralyzed. You might have missing limbs or broken back. Other than that, there is nothing wrong with you. You can go back to work with no restrictions. Your work comp insurance will pay thousands and thousands of dollars for that evaluation. Look, all those FBI cases. People are selling other people. They selling body parts now. Doctors, attorneys, healthcare professionals, everybody are involved in that scam for profit. This is the reality, folks. There was not even a one day in my life that I didn't think about that place and the people there. It was hard for me to go back to that place and take those few pictures. That place still reminds me the weeks and months that I spent there, the horror and the pain. Next time when you're gonna be driving by a factory in your neighborhood, maybe you should slow down and think about what might be going on behind that wall. And when you're going to get to the corner and you're going to see homeless people, perhaps you should give them a couple of dollars. Yeah, I know. They might use that money for alcohol or drugs. However, many of those people did the right thing. They went to work to support their families. They had accent on a job and they end up on the street. Folks, every 7 seconds, somebody is going to get hurt on a job in our country. And many of those people going to end up on the street. Give them a few bucks. Because one day, if you're going to have a serious accident on a job or car accident, you might be standing right next to them, wondering why I didn't do something about this when I had a chance. Perhaps you should grab your phone and call somebody. Call you representative, congressman, or senator. Ask them if they're going to do something about this, because it's still going on to this day. Folks, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something today about your country.